Whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into the war with the Cabal on Mars.
Oh God, why am I Sean Connerying it?
That's fine. That sounded good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would have Sean Connery this shit.
Whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into the war with Cabal on Mars. So let's get to taking out their command, one by one. Ballast, stay up.
Find a spot around the fireplace, you goons. It's time for another tale of Casual Master Quest.
Woo! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the beautiful show that is Casual Master Quest. Welcome to the Guild, the show where the adventure of video games has no final chapter. I'm Tyler Vidito, and over there is my partner, Nick. Nick, how is it going?
It's going pretty okay. Rolled out of bed casually at 12 in the afternoon today.
Wow, look at
Yeah.
you. You noon riser, you.
Yeah, well, me and my roommate were up last night till about 4-ish a.m. drinking gin and watching the 1998 French film Taxi with the young Marianne Cotillard.
Ooh, sacre bleu.
Yeah.
Man, look at you. You party animal, you.
I will let you know I'm a man of culture, Tyler.
Oh, yes, of course. You have the finest of French cuisine. I mean, taste of movies. Oh, man, it's been a week. It's been another fun week. It's, holy crap, so much is going on. I got, I'm in a sinking ship right now that is still afloat, but it's kind of like that moment from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie where people keep cannonballing my ship, and Jack Sparrow's like, stop putting holes in my ship.
I remember that moment, yeah.
And it's like, okay, I got duct tape and freaking planks everywhere. Like, I'm a pro in Sea of Thieves and repairing my ship and stopping it from sinking. So I got this handled. But what?
Oh, no, I burped.
Okay.
Got picked up.
That was his week, everybody. No, how's your week been going, man?
It's been okay. It's been slow in terms of everything else outside of school. I'm building for my final, I'm in a web design course. And for my final project, I have to build a portfolio. And building a portfolio from scratch is challenging. Not code wise, but purely design wise. Because I'm not a designer. And so there's very much an emphasis on things being unique. And that's sort of stressing me out a little bit because it's not like they're like, okay, reinvent like the websites, show me something, groundbreaking, world renowned, it's nothing like that. But it's like it has to like sort of set you apart from everybody else, but it also has to be unique to your own style of like design. And so I'm freaking out a little bit there. But beyond that, I hate drivers. Tyler, I hate people.
You hate drivers?
I hate drivers that aren't me.
Okay, so this is interesting. A lot of people, and it was an original statement on my end, and I realized that pretty much everybody says that they say they have the worst drivers in their state. And it's like, oh, Indiana drivers, oh, you got nothing.
Oh no, Washington drivers suck. They're some of the worst drivers in Washington compared to British Columbia anyways, and I haven't driven in many parts of the states, so don't take my word as like the only true word or like that's fact. But
the gospel of dumb drivers?
Yeah, but Washington drivers suck.
Okay, what's the story?
Look, it's a green light, all right? Both opposite sides are going. I'm going. The other side, they're going. And then there's a guy. Yes, and then there's a guy with on the on the right lane going left. He's got a red light on his side. He decides that there's enough space, and there's really not that much space for him to come. And he's in the middle lane too, but to come halfway into the intersection on a red light. He comes halfway into the intersection on a red light, and then he decides I'm gonna turn right instead. And then he turns right into my lane.
Oof.
On a wet day.
If it's a blinking red light, it's okay. So maybe what happened was he started blinking too much, and it was a solid red light. So he thought it was a blinking light.
What happened was he has an IQ of under 20, and he should be castrated and his license taken away from him because none of his descendants should ever drive ever again.
Okay, so that is a hell of a hot take.
So I don't know about in like middle. So with us, if you have a red light on your side, but you're in the rightmost lane, as long as it's free to go, you can turn right.
Yes.
So I can understand if he did that and he misjudged the distance or whatever and turned into the rightmost lane. Right? I have a problem when people turn right but turn into the middle lane or the leftmost lane when you're supposed to be turning into the rightmost lane.
You know, I had an actual issue with that too, and it kind of dragged me into the truck driving phase. But if I'm driving a truck and I'm making a right turn, I'm supposed to turn into the most outer lane if I need to. And so, I defend myself against that. But you're right. When people turn into what isn't their tightest, closest lane, it
causes a lot. So with trucks and like bigger, oversized vehicles, I have no problem because they have to make wider turns. And I usually stay away from them as much as possible. I give them as much space. If I'm on the highway and there's a truck, I put at least 7 or 8 cars distance between us if I'm turning into their lane in front of them, changing lanes, because they don't have the brakes that I do and they're a lot bigger, right?
I want to love you so hard for doing something like that, man. Like, seriously, if there's 2 things I think people need to up their respect for, is the distance between truck drivers and pizza delivery guys. It's ridiculous because I've seen so many times in certain areas that may or may not be, Detroit, where it's like, oh, I can pull right in front of you. You can stop on a dime. And if I have to brake to take this exit right here, you can just push a button and do a speed race or spring jump over me.
Because it's not about speed or getting annoyed that, oh, this truck is, I'm being slowed down. It's about, if I mess up, this truck will run over me. I will become roadkill instantly. The truck driver will be fine. Probably a little traumatized, but he'll be fine. Truck will be fine. Right? It depends on the size of the truck, too. I'm talking about, like, if there's semis and it's a tiny little BMW. BMW is good as gone.
I mean, in terms of rock, paper, scissors, the car is paper and the truck is scissors, in fact. Except the scissors would be about, 40 tons. It's a very big pair of scissors and a little piece of paper and just cuts right through them. It's vicious.
So getting back to this driver, so he's in the middle lane on his side. So he's on the right going left. So he's going perpendicularly across the intersection as I'm going forward. He's in the middle lane, comes halfway into the intersection on his red light, turns right into the middle lane, the lane that I'm in, and then when I honk him real hard and for quite a while, and get in front of him, he flips me off and flashes me. And it's stuff like this that I can understand. I wouldn't say I'm a rash driver, but I like to go fast. But I know when to be safe. And so I can understand if I upset people every now and then for driving too close because they're not doing the speed limit. That bothers me too. If anybody's driving 10 under the speed limit, you can go. Okay, I'm not gonna. Just don't drive. Drive the speed limit, folks. If it's safe, drive the speed limit. If it's busy, I understand. But like a lot of this just comes back with me. It just keeps me upset the whole day when I come home and I'm like, this, because it could have been really bad. I crashed my car last year. And so I know what it's like to have my car hit something else solid.
I have always considered the idea of having a second gun in my car for safety. But bringing a firearm to the workplace is a big no-no in almost every single case. Like, what they don't know can't hurt them, but at the same time, it's like if I don't hold a gun in the glove compartment, what am I supposed to do if somebody cuts me off?
Right.
It's a bad joke.
No, I've seen people have massive speakers on the outside of their car, and then have like gunshots playing off like an audio file on their phone, and then you just like a PA system. And so you just pull up behind somebody that cut you off or something, just play that audio file and watch them drive away.
Oh jeez. That's horrible and hilarious. Sorry, I shouldn't suggest gun violence as the answer to the ending of dumb drivery, but the frustration is in fact very real. Anybody that has to make more than a 5-minute commute in the car knows that all it takes is one very bad decision on somebody's part to it ruins your day.
There are 2 things you guys should just keep in mind. If you're going to drive the speed limit, good on you. That's fine. I have respect for anybody who drives at the very least the speed limit. But stay in the rightmost lane. Unless you have to turn left in the next mile, stay in the rightmost lane.
It's nice.
And also, you have indicators. You have turn signals.
Well, sometimes they're out of, blinker fluid. If it gets low, then they can't use it, so they can't turn.
I can understand that if it. Yeah.
Okay, you're not taking me actually seriously, right?
No,
Okay,
a little bit, but
there's no
turn
such thing as blinker fluid.
I know
Okay,
this was- you said it and put me off on a spin. But use your turn signals, people. I don't care if you're turning into your own driveway. You're turning.
right.
That's what they're there for. They're
And,
little things that indicate to the world where you're going.
It's kind of one of those things where the guy that first trained me in the beginning of this job, he he's so used to just being by himself that he started to ask me questions like, "Is this right? Is this okay?" And he started asking me, "It's like, does it bug you that somebody hits their brakes before they use their turn signal?" And I say yes, because they need to clearly indicate what they're doing, or I'm thinking that they're just stopping to hit a deer. Like I should be slamming my brakes too.
Yeah.
But every single time I see somebody use a brake before they use their turn signal, it's like you don't have the 40,000-pound load that I do, so you don't need the brake this early to not style using a turn signal. And so a couple of things. A lot of states require you to use your turn signal, like for example on the highway, up to 500 feet in advance before you make the turn. I actually got pulled over for not doing that, but the guy used it as an excuse to check to see if I had drugs in the car. And as it turns out, I didn't. Just a lot of McDonald's.
Oof.
I know, right? Oh, jeez. Second off, in the state of Michigan, they're starting to enforce this a lot harder. Like the only state I saw them really crack down on it was Texas. In Michigan, it's now super illegal. If you're not trying to pass somebody or not trying to make a left-hand turn sometime in the next mile or two, you should not be in the left lane by any means. And police officers are starting to pull people over and warn them, saying, "Hey, this is you can't do this anymore." And
If you're not passing people, don't be on the left lane.
I mean, it stinks. In particular for me, because I want to 100% follow that all the time too. But there's times where it's like, okay, I want to do 65 in my truck. That's what I can do. That's the most I can do because I'm moderated. But this guy in front of me is doing 58. But every time I try to pass him, suddenly he can do 65 again or something. And it's like, okay, I got to get back behind him. But then there's other times where it's just also just a truck doing 63 and I want to pass him. But then I'm going to cut off all the people doing 75, 80 miles an hour and hold them up and try to, crank my grandma gears pass by. And a lot of people get upset by that a little bit. But no, I understand.
There's no end all be all solution. It's just frustrating sometimes. And I love driving, but I don't like driving down the I-5 because there are a lot of people who just, if speed limit's 70, they'll be at 65 in the left lane and they're not passing anybody.
If you ain't got no reason, take your broke ass to the right lane.
Exactly.
It's some kind of rendition of Glamorous.
On that limerick, how's your week been?
Fantastic. Two important things happened this weekend, or this week. The first one is my 6-year anniversary. Yes,
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's weird because my wife more wants to focus on the whole celebrating the anniversary of our wedding, but right. I to me, that's important. But I really want to prioritize the us first dating, us first meeting, that first moment years ago that made us say we were meant for each other. And it's been 6 years since that's happened, and it's been 6 fucking great years, man.
Yeah, because that's the moment where your life was changed for the better. And so that's a significant moment for you.
Absolutely. I am a person that without any outside support, and this is not good. This is not healthy. I admit it. I'm not very good at simply supporting myself for long stretches of time if moments of testing me comes my way. Like, right. I'm good at keeping myself together, but if 2-3 days of just bad shit just starts coming my way, I'm broken down. I'm nothing. Like my best stress buddy would be the bottle, and that's how it was up until I met her. And then since then we've it's weird because I'm so used to having people come and go in my life, important people. My parents. I've had friends come and go. I've had people that I worked with and whatnot. You know your names, guys. But she was always there for me.
Right.
Not one time did she fucking say I'm out of here. I need to leave the life here. And she was blowing me raspberries. And fucking 6 years. It's the longest relationship I've ever had, besides with maybe my mother and my grandmother too, bless her, and my sister. But yeah, happy 6 years anniversary, honey. Here's to another one. Thank you for being the best thing in my life.
Aw.
But speaking about the second best thing in my life,
Right.
I had another thing that happened this week. So I wish I remembered his name on Twitter, and I will one day remember his name. He is one of the people from the Player One podcast. Great podcast if you ever want to give another show a listen to. He I believe works for Nintendo actually in some way or form, and he showed that he was able to transfer the guts of a Game Boy to another Game Boy. And I was mesmerized with this idea. I was like, "Oh, that's cool! You can transfer, from some crappy purple Game Boy Color to one of those cool see-through ones or something like that." So I'm like, "Okay, it probably god awful expensive. Might take weeks for it to get on Amazon and whatnot." I check, and holy shit, stars aligned for me, man. Motherfucking stars aligned for me. Things happened. I'm going to back up here, a little pin in this note. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I've mentioned it once or twice before, and I know you just heard it.
Right.
There was a time when I was about 5-6 years old. I helped clean the house with my sister, and my mom gave me $5 as a result. The next day, my father's mom, my grandmother, took us to go rummage sailing. And we go through a bunch of rummage sales. I'm bored out of my mind, and my sister says, "What's this? It has that Pikachu on it." And I look at it, and it is, and I know this, obviously, just for reference, I'm pulling up this little item here. It was a yellow and blue Game Boy that had Pokemon on it, and picture a Pikachu, Jigglypuff, and Togepi in the corner. And I thought it was the best thing ever. I couldn't understand how much it was gonna mean to me, but I snatched it out of her hands before she could buy it because she had her own $5. Things could have changed, man, if she beat me back with it and said, "It's mine now, sucker." And so I bought my first game system ever that would change my entire fucking life. My Game Boy Color, that was the Pikachu Yellow Edition. And it meant so much to me because everybody else had, the blue and the green or the purple one.
Right.
I had the motherfucking limited edition Pikachu one. And I had this with me for many years. And there was a point in my life where I lived with my father, just my father. He went off to do work, and he left me with a babysitter. And I can't 100% tell you the details. I was young, I was dumb, but what sticks in my head was what happened. I believe what had happened was my father had put me with this babysitter that he may not have been trying to, do the hanky with. And he was trying to, be all fun with her, and she was, trying to, "Hey, I'll watch your kid as long as you watch me later." Some kind of stuff. I don't know. I do not know the details. I don't want to.
Who knows what adults do?
This lady had a 5-year-old kid. I was about 10 or so at the time, and I wanted to play my game. I wanted to play. I was playing Pokemon. I think maybe Link's Awakening. It was one of those kind of games, and he wanted to make me play with his toys. But it's like, I'm 10, you're 5. I don't want to play with your little Power Ranger figures. I got Lugia the Catch, man. And so he cries to his mom. His mom tells me, "You have to play with my son." I'm like, no, it's like, no, I don't. Just, it's like you're babysitting. Just let me be. Keep me in the corner. I'm okay. I'm pretty self-dependent. This is free money for you, dude. And so she gets upset with this. Tells my father. My father, who apparently had massive deck energy at the time, and I was cock blocking him essentially by not playing with this child, had taken this Game Boy that I've had for years, my only game console at the time, and just threw as strong as he could with all his might right into the concrete, right into the ground. And it just fucking obliterated it. And he made me watch. watched destroy one of the biggest part of my childhood history. And it changed a lot about how I thought of him. Like, it was that bad, and then I apparently had immediately repressed it because he brought it up later to apologize, and I just remembered it, and it just made me so irrevocably angry. I don't even think I'm using that word right. And so here I am looking on Amazon.com, 15 years later or so, 20 years later, maybe. I don't know. Let's say I'm 27.
Math is hard. It's fine.
I can't do elementary. Oh, God, 60. What? So I'm looking on Amazon, and sure as shit, there is a Game Boy Color Pikachu limited edition shell that I could
right.
$20 on Amazon with Prime. It could be in my house in 2 days. I'm like, holy shit, I have a Game Boy Color I could get. It works just fine. I can move it over, and I can have my motherfucking childhood again. And so it shows up the day that I was supposed to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I said, fuck this. I'm not going to talk about video games at all. I'm going to tell you about the time, comes with its own tool set with, the tri-screwdriver and all that stuff. I'm start taking it apart. I'm terrified, man. One screw up and this is game over. I don't have a second Game Boy to test this on. And things are starting to make me nervous in like certain ways left and right. It's like, oh man, this isn't screwing together right. Oh gosh. And the biggest time was when I was applying the sticker of the Pokemon and whatnot onto the actual screen itself. Because I had to peel a bunch of sticky tape and all that stuff off. And some reason the last thing that was covering the clear case that goes over the screen wouldn't come off. And I thought it was actually, maybe it was just part of the thing. I'm just remembering incorrectly. I was wrong, very wrong. And all of a sudden I had this opaque cover between this plastic cover and the actual screen. And I had to take the world's sharpest and thinnest knife I had in the house to pop this sticky screen back off, doing a small amount of damage to the screen cover thing, but it was not enough to really notice, and to peel that off and get it fixed. And just getting everything screwed back together, I'm scared that, something's not going to work or whatnot. And then I turn it on, and I'm going to see if...
Yay!
That sound, man. Just that fucking sound. Seeing my childhood with Pokemon Blue, oh my gosh, just hearing it. So fucking good. And like I'm looking at it, and I warned you, I was like, I might tear up. I feel the slight welling of the eyes. I want to hold them back, man. But goddamn,
okay, this is a safe space.
This is probably one of the greatest landmark items of my childhood history that I thought was gone to me forever because how rare I thought it was and all that stuff. And you know what? I don't care if it's as common as shit now. It means I have a chance to relive what I thought was long lost me. And
no, and it's something special to you, and that's what's important, not whether it's common or not.
And it's like, I got a Vita in a frame on the wall. I kind of want to rip it off and throw it out the window and put this thing up there now, because it's like, fuck the Vita. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think I want to put it on the wall
just yet.
Just yet. I want to touch it. I want to hold it. I want to appreciate it.
All right. Get a room. Right.
I know, right?
It's a show, Tyler.
Use protection for your link cabling. So that was pretty much it for my week. What have you been playing, man?
So a couple of shocking things here. Not shocking, but like big things here.
Big wild jumps. Oh man.
I haven't had much time to play video games, as we talked about in the past few weeks, just with school ramping up and as a final stretch of the semester. So that's one. Two, I have not touched Destiny 2 in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you joined the club of being free of the shackles of Bungie?
Oh no, not yet. The DLC is coming out sometime in the first or second week of December, and I can't wait for that. It's just other games. Overwatch. Watching the Overwatch World Cup this past week has really made me want to keep playing it more, and I'm really excited for season 2 of the Overwatch League. We played Splatoon 2 sometime a couple of days ago. It was fun. I had fun. It was just a fun, simple game. Honestly, to me, it's nothing amazing. It's nothing terrible. It's just a fun game as long as you're playing with people.
And that's an absolutely weird thing because I think it's more prominent in Japan, if we're going to be real. This kind of game is nice, simple, and fun, straight to the point. And playing with friends, as you said, it's a great arcade game. Just to sit down, have a drink, and just go at it. It's good, mindless fun because you can try to get sweaty if you want to, but in reality,
like there's really no point. Yeah, so that's the important distinction as well. Like this Splatoon 2 wouldn't hold me because it's not a game made for PvP players.
Oh no,
it's a game made for PvE players or just like general gamers to have like an environment where they can like sort of have fun with their friends against other people. But if you're used to a game like Call of Duty or Battlefield or Destiny, it's not going to do it for you. It's not going to get you your PvP fix.
Right. It honestly, there's different game modes. We only played the turf war one.
Yeah. And
it's like you can be as good as you want and murder as many people you want, but if you're not covering your ground at all, you get screwed over real quickly. And
I'm sorry, are you saying that objective-based game modes you can only win if you play objectives?
Focus on the objectives. What is
that? All I know is that I have to kill people.
Play Hanzo every day. Yeah, I know that joke. I can say that joke. I got like 2 hours in Overwatch, man. You better watch out.
Wow.
But yeah, Splatoon 2, there's a couple of problems that I'm sure you realized in the very beginning. For example, the online matchmaking system that everybody kind of knows, but they want to forget and grumble about. The idea that we can't just team up in a party and go.
Yeah, you can't squad up and then load into a match. You have to have one of your friends load into a match and then join them if there's enough space.
Imagine trying to do like a 4 or a 5 or a 6 stack, since I can use your term now.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of goof troop style, one person appears around the corner and the other one like kind of like trips and does a head flip and then pats him on the back saying, I'm right behind you. And the other one just like starts somersaulting in and pats him. And the
like an anime montage where the hero's going to his final showdown and the friends just start appearing out of the woodwork.
And like the fourth one tries to pat in the back, but falls into a manhole because the other one already hit a full party. It's like, oh, I'm sitting in this manhole for 3 minutes. Oh man, I got to wait and see if I can join you guys. Just has to sit there at a 3-minute countdown. It was a nightmare trying to stream that. It was like, I want to play with my friends, but then my friends have to sit on the sideline because, God forbid, they want to actually buy a new weapon or something like that. It's fucked up. And not to mention, it was also kind of convoluted because we want to talk to each other while we play this game. But if we have it too loud on the TV, then, we hear it on echo on the Discord and whatnot. But it's like, oh, since we paid for the online, which we both had to do now, actually, you got the trial. So
but when you get trials like this, you have to put in your credit card information. Just use it after.
I'm going to give you a free taster.
Yeah. But it's not that much, so I'm going to keep it going for now.
Okay. And with that being said, it's a good game. It's a fun game. Like I said,
it's a fun game. I have nothing negative to say about it except for the few quality of life things. Gameplay wise, it's a fun game. Nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. So that's Splatoon 2.
Yes.
And I think we all know, and there have been plenty of people who have been excited about me playing Breath of the Wild, my first ever Legend of Zelda game.
Myself included. I do believe sometime last week, I specifically, and this might actually sound like a weird fetish thing, I demanded that I video call you and watch you watching Breath of the Wild so I could hear your reaction. Yeah. It's like, oh man, I want to hear Nick. I want to hear him talk about how great the shrines. Oh man, he's talking about difficulty. Oh man, he died for the 20th time in the row and he's getting really angry. Oh yeah. Oh, a shrine was completed. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so with me and playing games, I usually have resting bitch face, and so I'm just like,
you do.
I don't have like a happy expression unless it's like a PvP game and I'm like hitting crazy snipes. But with like a PvE game, if I'm roaming around, I just have resting bitch face, and I'll only really show any emotion when I die or when something's going wrong. But I really had a lot of fun with Breath of the Wild.
I think because I'm so used to streaming the games I play. You are too, but it's like I'm used to like forcing emotion or letting people
right.
But yeah, you are like stone cold Steve Austin over there, just sitting there.
So just to reiterate, I borrowed Breath of the Wild from my library, my university library. We were allowed to borrow games for up to 3 days, and then we could renew that loan up to 3 times. So essentially, that's 12 days I had the game for. I returned the game a couple of days ago because final stretch of the semester, I want to be able to focus on school. So I'm going to be taking it out again over the holidays, the winter holidays, so I can finish it up. I'm going to actually put a reserve on it, so I'm going to be able to get it out. I talked to the librarians. I know what the system's like now, so I know how to get it out exactly. It doesn't count for my loan days when the library is closed. So let's say I take it out on the Friday. I have to return it on the Tuesday because the Saturday and Sunday don't count.
Good
Because
deal.
the library's closed. Yeah. So my goal, as I mentioned maybe 2 weeks ago, was to get the Master Sword. I got the Master Sword.
You got the motherfucking.
I got the Master Sword.
Master Sword.
And I knew it wasn't gonna do much for me because I know that unless you're fighting quote unquote evil, the Master Sword's base damage is only about 30, and then you have to let it recharge for about 10 minutes after using it up to a certain amount. So, but I just wanted the Master Sword. It's my first Legend of Zelda game. I feel like
no joke. The sneeze that it still does a good amount of damage. Plus,
so it's good to have like as a backup until I actually need it in case I run out of all other weapons. But I'm so good at hoarding things that I've learned from Skyrim that I never actually use the 45 power weapons that I picked up from this one Guardian that I think is going to be really good at this point. But instead, I just keep on using the 22 damage weapons that I keep picking up because I need the 45 damage weapons just in case shit goes wrong. But nothing ever goes wrong, and I'm always using the 22 damage weapons.
It's funny because during my Twitch days, which I'd like to say is still on hold, I gave you the whole LR or exclamation mark LR Warrior 11, and it was like, my bone is my sword. The whole concept to him is he has his ability to show his world, which is nothing but swords. And there's a similar guy called Gilgamesh in the same game that he can basically pull out treasure troves of weapons out behind him from the vaults of Babylon. And so I just imagine you saying, ha ha, ha ha. You start pulling out weapons, and it's like, I actually don't want to use these against you. Aha, aha. Starts putting it back in. It's like, I'll use this one. It will destroy you. And you just pull out this rust bucket of a sword, and it's like, this one has medium durability, but it'll be more than enough for you.
So, and then while we were on video chat and you wanted to see me play, I ran into a major test of strength shine.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was like I got the mechanics down, but I just didn't have weapons that did enough damage, and so I would have run out of all weapons at the end.
Don't you fucking hate that?
Yeah, so I thought it would be fitting if that was the last shrine I needed to get my last heart container, and I wiped the floor with that Guardian with only went through maybe 2 or 3 weapons.
I mean, technically speaking, and this is a gross way of viewing it, you could have still done it even without any swords. You got your bows, but you also have your bombs. Your bombs could have done damage.
Yeah, but that would have taken forever.
Take motherfucking forever. But I know you.
Plus bombs, it would have taken forever.
If I know you though, if you could have done it and you knew that was that last stretch you needed,
if I could have got him down enough where I'm like, all right, he's got maybe a 5th or 6th of his health left, and I can just do like 30 bombs will take care of it. I would have done it.
So now you also have those 3 weapons, then those Battle Axe plus.
Yep. So they're all just sitting there just because I put a majority of my Korok seeds into upgrading my weapon. My weapon storage.
Yeah.
And so I just have a bunch of weapons that I'm still holding on to.
Oh man. So couple of questions.
Yeah.
I asked you before about the Korok seed business. Yeah. Have you figured out a way to talk to the person to expand your weapons, your bows, your shields any further, or are you still stuck at like the default that you've been since when you first met him?
I mean,
his name is Hesta.
Hesta or Hestu?
Hestu, sure. Hestipoo.
I think I put 2 slots into my shield storage and 2 slots into my bow storage, and then maybe I think it was at 5 seeds last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more sword slots.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe you told me that you discovered Hatino Village because you did the whole torch run thing to light all the torches.
Yeah, and I did that another time for Robbie at somewhere in Akala.
Oh, you went to Akala too?
Yeah.
Cool. So have you discovered how to get your own house yet?
No, I have not. And before we get to that, yes, I only have 2 regions, I think, where I have to explore.
Okay.
Otherwise, I've been all over the map.
Do you know what regions they are? Like is it north of someplace?
It's north of the desert. The few regions just north of the desert.
Okay.
I've explored Mount Doom and everything, so it's in between the desert and Mount Doom.
Well, Mount Doom and the desert on completely diagonally opposite sides of the map.
So like in that little chunk in the northwest region.
Okay, that is the like the cold mountain looking place.
Yeah, I think, and that's with the Flying Guardian.
And then between that and the desert, there's like a giant desert plateau style thing where it's kind of like mountains. It's just
I got that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And
I beat
well,
the
the
Giga
whole
Clown
house.
boss.
The whole house thing is because they have sword plaques. You could put weapons up if you wanted to save them for special reasons or whatnot.
Yeah,
So-
I'll do that and just never use them ever again. It'll be like health potions in Skyrim. Like, oh, this minor health potion, I could use this later on, and then you end the game with 80 health potions.
Me and Final Fantasy VII facing off against Sephiroth with like fucking 20 mega elixirs and only using one. It's like, god damn it. I could have used that during the other boss that fucked me up. Rough.
Yeah, so it's like that with me, where I need to like discover everything first before I start going off and doing the story missions. I've gone through the story in some parts where all I have to do is now beat I can't remember the name of the beast, but the desert beast, the Gerudo, the beast in the desert, the camel looking one.
I think it's like Vanubis or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I got the thunder helmet back, and so all I got to do now is just meet the princess at the place, and then we can go off and start that dungeon.
Will that be your first divine beast?
If I decide to do that, yes, but I'm probably gonna try for the bird, the flying bird.
It's an interesting concept of you like trying to activate the dungeon, because technically you can activate it and then say, fuck this, I'm out of here, and just leave it alone. You could probably do all divine beasts within an hour if you set it up right like that.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm planning to do, like just knock it all down in one go.
I'm just warning you right now, if you were to do the camel one, that boss by far is the hardest one out of the 4.
I've seen some of the puzzles and challenges for it, and then it looks fun. So I'm probably gonna get to that list.
It's like the boss fight itself. He will mess you up. He kind of looks like it's like, oh, hey there, fella, you're not gonna be so. Oh my god! But then his mid game mechanic isn't too hard, but it's also messed up that you gotta be quick about it, and sometimes it feels like, oh, the game's kind of conspiring against me. I gotta do this mechanic, and once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking. I'm like, oh,
Right.
what the hell is this shit? And I'm sure maybe you've seen it before even, but I will wish you the best of luck. Have you discovered a couple of big bosses? I'd like to think you discovered the Hinox, right? Oh,
Yeah, I discovered I fought 2 Hinoxes. I fought a skull version. That was fun. Did that. I haven't fought a Lionel yet.
That's probably for the best. Let's be real. I'm just.
I really want to. Like, I'm really excited.
A Lionel is, and I know this is a bad way of saying this. I personally believe a Lionel is harder than any Divine Beast boss. So if you can beat a Lionel, you can beat anything at that point.
Yeah, and I want to do the thing where especially for my first Lionel battle, I want to sneak up, mount it, do some damage.
And
I'm gonna go for the big dig play.
Just a heads up, if you do want to take on the easiest Lionel that you'll encounter is one you'll encounter when you do the
water guardian. Yeah, so now my challenge is to collect the 20 shock arrows, and they're like, oh, you know who probably has a bunch of shock arrows? That Lionel who's sitting up there on the ridge. Please go fight him.
Since that Lionel is story driven, he will stay the same color, and he is the lowest level color. Whereas all the other ones will eventually upgrade to the silver one, and those guys are no good. But if you want to practice learning how to do the flurry attacks with dodging a Lionel and whatnot, that would be the way to do it. The problem with that, though, is each Lionel has a different type of weapon. Some Lionels will have twin blades, and they'll the quick one not. And then there's one that'll have like a giant sword or a battle axe that will just pulverize you. And then there's one that will have a sword and shield. And
right.
It's nice because once you kill those sons of guns, they'll drop their bow and the weapon. Those weapons are like so OP, it's not even funny. So if you can find a way to somehow cheese a Lionel to get their weapons, just makes the game so much easier. And
yeah, I'm just surprised I haven't run into one, because I've done a lot a lot of exploring, like just off the map, off the traditional path exploring.
Oh yeah, like when
Finding
you
a whole bunch of
hunt
things.
for a Lionel's actually kind of hard to find. Like it's more like you're Scooby Dooing around looking for clues to try to figure out what to do, and all of a sudden, big bad, you see him in the distance. Like, is that a horse? Oh, that is not a horse. And then you see this 5 pixel high thing with the question mark pop above its head, filling up, and you're like, oh shit. And you hide behind a rock, and you don't know if it actually like saw you or if it wants to fight you. My favorite part is the mindset behind those Lionels, because it'll appear and show an exclamation point, but it won't charge at you.
No,
It'll sit there and stare at you, even if you hide or whatnot. And sometimes they'll kind of taunt you, like, come face me, mofo. And then there's other times where if you don't draw your weapon, it'll just sit there and kind of taunt you and growl at you and stuff. And eventually, if you don't do anything, it just gets sick of you and shoots shock arrows in the air, which will disappear and then always hit exactly where you were half a step.
and so I'll end the Breath of the Wild discussion there with the one thing that I was purely amazed by. I knew that there was a dragon in the game, Farosh.
There are 3 dragons in the game.
Jesus Christ. Okay, there's the one dragon that I saw. I didn't know where he was. Like I've seen a lot of people play the game, but I didn't know exactly where he was. I always knew they'd just randomly appear in this. I figured they'd just randomly appear in the sky, but no, he happens to be across one of these bridges, just roaming around, and it's just so pretty. Like the colors, like the graphics in this game are something like I'm truly enjoying it. And I'm just like, look at this dragon. He's so cute. He's just going about his business, and then I get closer and closer, and then a fucking death orb of lightning comes closer, and just fries me up, and I'm like, that's not fun.
So I think the one you're talking about specifically is you might have been in either leaving.
It was to the east of the starting area. There was like a bridge across to the jungle version.
Southern area, the giant stone bridge that crosses like over the lake and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes, that is where most people encounter their first dragon encounter, because they'll jump off the turning their orbs in to get a heart, and then they drop off and they look in the distance like, the fuck is that? And it's like giant ass dragon looking motherfucker. And so they get attracted, drawn to it, and then when you get close to it, it starts shooting, elemental orbs at you and whatnot. But yes, depending on the time of day, you can kind of force trigger these things to appear depending on how you handle it. Like if you're like, oh, if I appear at 8 o'clock at this location, he will always appear here. And have you discovered any uses for them yet?
No, but they have spikes around, like at least this one that I saw has like these spikes or scales running across its back. So I would imagine the goal is to get on the dragon and farm some materials that you're going to use to upgrade armors or weapons.
You're in the right direction. I'm not sure if you want me to talk you through it, because I'm gonna like say 90% sure if you ever have to encounter these dragons, you're gonna look up a guide for it anyways.
Oh, okay. I'll probably look up a guide for it.
If you want to encounter one manually for a quest, there is a quest to talk about one that's over in the mountains that is to the northeast of Hatino Village.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're at Hatino Village, you look to the northeast, and it's like one of the biggest peaks. If you start heading that way, you'll eventually encounter a quest that involves talking to one of these dragons. They're handling it, and then from there, it pretty much explains to you what is the purpose of these dragons and what can you get out of meeting them.
Okay.
Because I think most of the time, the biggest use is it was used to upgrade the final set of armor that you can get in the game. And you'll also figure that later, but they're very important to get. So I recommend you do that quest whenever you get the chance to load up on your gold stuff and start heading over to I believe it's the highest peak in the game, if not the second highest peak, because the highest peak might potentially be the one that's over near the flying turkey guy over in that area.
Okay.
So just good word of advice, something to look forward to. But you got your finals and whatnot. You've also been playing some Overwatch.
Yeah, some Overwatch. I hate myself. Competitive is a bit of a shit show, but it is what it is. Really played for the Moira skin for the event. I got that because not through loot boxes, but I just bought it. Because it wasn't going to drop for me. Like I waited all the way till the end, got all the loot boxes, didn't get it to drop, so I bought it. But yeah, no. Beyond that, that's it. What sort of games have you been playing? Tyler?
We talked about Splatoon 2, had our
Yeah.
fun with that. I been continuously watching Red Dead Redemption 2 because at this point it's kind of like a non-fatal car accident where it's like I shouldn't look and I don't have any actual real investment in it, but I still kind of want to look to see because just
Right.
like, oh man, somebody really wrecked that car. But it's like, oh man, somebody really wrecked that horse right off a cliff. Oh god, that's horrible. I don't want to talk about Red Dead Redemption because I think everybody's heard enough about it, and if not, then there's much better places you can hear about it. At the same time, I have my next option would be to talk about Pixelmon, and that is a fun show. So, a couple of things since we're going to talk about Pixelmon here for a hot second. We do have a potential meeting up next week with the top admin of the Pixelmon server that I'm on. Now, Pixelmon itself is a mod. I know it's like I got to explain every single time. Is the mod for playing Pokemon on Minecraft, but Pixel Spark is one of the last running servers in the entire world, as far as I can find, without going into the undergrounds trying to find private servers that people don't advertise that is available. And so I started talking with some of the people that run the stuff and say, hey, just so you know, I run a pretty cool website. LOL, the last person that was on was a very popular streamer. Do you want to try to enjoy some of this fine glory? And I wasn't actually like that, but I was like, hey.
But you got to sell yourselves a little bit, right?
It's like, hey, we love talking about history. We love trying to understand how things came to be. Would you like to come into the show? And so the guy in charge of the server section is like, talk to this person, talk to this person. In this particular, it's Snowfox and Quantum. And interesting names. I'm not sure if I have to use code names when I talk with them in person, but we'll see. I may blur out their voice.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like we're talking to rebel leaders. It's like Nick and Tyler going undercover to North Korea to have a private conversation with Kim Jong-un.
Oh boy. No, we are not doing that. First off.
We're not doing that, first of all, but that's kind of what it's like because it's only a matter of time before Nintendo tries to do something, right?
Right, and we'll talk about it more in detail because they totally have tried to take that website down or that server down at one point in time, and so it's like I want to learn more about that. I want to understand how the working's going with that, how things came to be, how things are going to happen, what's going on that end. So I'm loving the idea of being able to learn more about that. I am currently wrapping up the gym. I got my team 100% ready to go. Brandon disappeared off the map, which means I probably won't get my final battle with them. We'll see though after this. If Brandon's gone, that means my days are numbered. It's almost like not having extra life reserve, I guess. And it's like, oh boy, if Brandon's gone, that means my flavor of the month. It's sunsetting at this point. What's going on?
Right.
So I'm trying to find different ways to invest myself into the game to where I can stay for a maybe not as intense, but a more longevity kind of thing. It's like, oh, I can pop on, once every weekend or two and have some fun or whatnot. And I don't want to go into further detail now because technically it's in the works and I might get accepted or I might get rejected. And we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, been having fun, built my team. I could tell you my team, but I probably wouldn't remember. Let's see. I'm gonna do.
I know for sure. There's maybe a slight possibility, a minuscule chance of you having a Caesar on your team.
There's a motherfucking Caesar on my team. My female Caesar was Pygmy, but you get something called tokens in this game, more like daily reward stuff, and these things you can you can bump up this IV by 1 point for 10 tokens. And stuff like that. It's like, oh, you didn't get the perfect Pokemon you wanted? That's okay. With enough time, you can bump it up. And so, as I talked before, there are size options between 1 and 10. 10, ginormous, required 30 tokens. I'm like, oh god, that's gonna eat all my tokens. I spent over a month getting. It's like, or the second highest for half that much, and every other size was 15 tokens. And it's like, okay, I'll just use 50 tokens. So now I got a big girl Scizor.
Nice.
And not only that, I do in fact have my Scizor right, so I can now get the Dream Mega Scizor that I have alongside that team. And this team's going to change. I had to be careful with what I chose and whatnot because there was a point where I wanted Greninja on my team, but Greninja in X and Y days was considered Uber versus overused. So I had to be careful with stuff like that. So I got Scizor. I have Gardevoir. I took Sylveon off the team because I wanted Brandon to have Sylveon. And Sylveon, Gardevoir has better coverage and whatnot, and I felt like it had better stats in the long run. You can think about it if you want. Let's see, I had Ferrothorn. Say it starts with the Ferrothorn, and I think it's called Ferrothorn.
Yeah, Ferrothorn. Yeah.
So that's 3 right there. Tyranitar, that's 4. Let's see. Then I have it's a quick hitting one. Gliscor.
Yeah.
Or a flying ground type. Very good for just for typing and whatnot. The cover. And the last one, I don't
run Gliscor with acrobatics and no held item, and then watch him just fly off the face of the earth.
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrifying. Why would you suggest something like that? For my 6th Pokemon, I can't specifically remember. There was a problem with this because I had my 5 of the 6 team ready to go, and there was like a little tournament going on, unofficial and all that stuff. And they're like, anything goes. I'm like, well, I want to use my team, but I don't have a 6th Pokemon. Who cares? You're still in. I'm like, so what? If I just my 6th Pokemon, I'm going to toss out air and instantly lose? No, fuck that. So I had a Keldeo that I was going to give Amanda last week, and I still plan to, but I was like, screw it, I'll throw it in my team. But then by the time I got there, like, you're too late. I'm like, oh, that's sad. And somebody comes up to me, and this was an interesting situation. She was like, you should face me. I'm like, okay. And it's like tournament rules, and she's like, sure. She apparently So I started off with Keldeo, and she immediately forfeited the match and like kind of got upset with me. She's like, "You can't use the legendary in an OU match." I'm like, "This is an anything go tournament." And then she started,
you also specifically asked, like,
it's like,
are there any rule sets you want to play by?
Yeah, when we choose the battle, we have to pick what we what rules, if anything goes, if it's legendary. And apparently, we just tried to do anything goes, but we have to play by honor or something like that. So she made me quit or forfeit the match. I put a Dragonite in just because I had a Dragonite from before, and I got her down to her last Pokemon, but then she started sweeping me. So the time that I was telling that story, I in fact was looking at my getting online and being able to tell you what my team is, and I can tell you without any reservation of trying to procrastinate any further that my last Pokemon, let's see, it was Gardevoir, Scizor, Ferrothorn, Tyranitar, and Gengar.
Okay, that's a solid.
Gengar is I love doing a toxic hex move. Do 120 damage, but the most important thing for that was there is a lot of people trying to nowadays in the server trying to run Rapid Spin for the counter to get rid of, it's kind of like Defog, where it gets rid of Stealth Rock, gets rid of spikes and all that stuff, and Ferrothorn is a Spike Master. But if I switch out the Gengar and they try to use Rapid Spin, a normal type move, it's not going to work. So they got to eat it. So it's a good way of perpetuating that. Plus, I love my Gengar. So yeah, that's my team. And I haven't challenged anybody in the gym. I'm supposed to this weekend, but Brandon was also supposed to be on so we can have our amazing gym opening. Right. And this is completely to the side. I know this might eat up a little bit of time, but I realized that for the 6-year anniversary, doing a couple of things. Amanda's doing something for me tomorrow, or yesterday if you're listening to this, and I'm doing something for her. 1 second, I gotta. Oh, sorry. The new vape rig is really catching up on me. So I I pre-ordered for her the Spyro Reignited Trilogy.
Nice.
Comes out in about a week, and Amanda's excited as shit for it.
I would be too, yeah.
Fist pumping. I have all the games I want, plus I got a backlog I got to work up, so I couldn't have the game. And so she is going to take me out to my favorite restaurant, which is a Chinese buffet. And then the Bohemian Rhapsody, or I guess Bohemian, but I like since I saw that movie or the trailer for it, I'm like, oh man, I really want to see Bohemian. Man, that looks good. So I'm excited for that. Is there any other games you want to talk about before we?
Yeah, just really quickly, I want to mention it is November 5th, Monday, 2018. BlizzCon just happened.
Yes, it did.
And we had an announcement from Bungie that if you have Battle.net, if you have the Battle.net client, you can download the base game of Destiny 2 for free.
That sounds awfully familiar. Like something's going on here.
Whatever it is, you have until the 18th of November to claim your free gift, and once you claim it, you have Destiny 2 base game forever. Mind you, it's only enough for you to get a taste of what it's like on PC if you already play Destiny 2.
Which was enough for me to drop $60 to get the full thing. So
Yeah, so you're gonna have to pay whatever it is for Forsaken to get both the first 2-year DLCs and Forsaken. That's included now in the bundle.
Is that in effect now? We're getting Forsaken also gets you the other DLC naturally now.
Yes, I think that started a couple of weeks ago. That went into full effect a couple of weeks ago, and it's just a good intro into Destiny if you've never played it before. I think regardless of what you have to say about the game or the company, it's worth a shot because it's free.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what got me and Cam to play. Like, we're both kind of like, haha, look at Nick over here. What a huge nerd. And then we both were like, oh, it's free.
That was, I think, one of my greatest moments of triumph.
That was ridiculous how like quick the turnaround was. Like, we both, like, the week before, we're, I had the talk. I was like, Nick, you got to stop talking about Destiny. Next week, all three of us were fucking talking about Destiny. It's like, God damn it. Come on.
Right.
I understood what light level meant at that point. Jeez.
But beyond that, no, I think we're all good on the video games. We can move on.
Cool. Yeah. For our modular segment, it's going to be story time. I figured, we could use a little story time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it actually comes with the story on both our ends because, it's one of those things where it's like, I probably should ask him beforehand to see if he has anything applicable to this. But I did do a safety net just in case. So the question is, for the story, have you ever met someone in real life after meeting them in a video game? Or if you haven't, someone that you want to meet in real life that you haven't. Like, you met somebody, you've been talking with them.
Right.
But the dark ages. we can't travel the thousands of miles to go across the planet to meet somebody. Which is probably for the better because, I'd probably be like in Japan or something like that at this point. Hey, that time when I was playing with those Halo 3 players,
right. It was the only people playing the game. Yeah.
So, do you got a story for me, perchance? Or
yeah, I do actually have a story for you.
Sure.
So when I first moved to Canada, the college that I was going to, we had like an orientation day, and we were all put into these groups. And so I was sitting in my group. There was a bunch of people. It was first day out. It's like new kid in school. Really nervous, but really excited. And then over in the corner, I hear another guy talking about how he's from Dubai and he grew up in Dubai. And I'm like, this man we grew up in the same place. We'd be comfortable. Like, I know what he's talking about. So I went over, introduced myself to him. His name is Dean. I still try to play with him as much as I can to this day. But so I met Dean. We hung out a couple of times, became friends after that. And then about a year later, he tells me that he got an Xbox One. And I'm like, yo, sick. That's like, yo, dude, that's sick. What games are you playing? He's like, I'm playing Destiny. I'm like, bro, I'm playing Destiny. We should play Destiny together.
Wow.
And so we were playing Destiny one day, and then the next time we played Destiny, he's like, listen, I got a friend who's in Arizona. He wants to join us. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever. I'm cool. Let's play Destiny. So he joins us. And back then, a lot of the PvP stuff, a lot of the big stuff were three people parties in Destiny. Yeah. And so this guy, his name is Craig. And we clicked instantly. And it's like, we're pretty close right now. We're good friends. And we spent a lot of time. Like, I'm talking about, these are the stories where I mentioned where the three of us, we'd wake up at like 10 a.m. on a Saturday, sit down in front of the couch, play Destiny till about 3 in the afternoon, break for food, shower, whatever, and then come back at 6 in the evening and play till 3 in the morning. This is what we like. These are the people I spent my time with, Dean and Craig. So I found this out pretty early. Craig and Dean they grew up together. So Craig is also from Dubai. And so it just so happened one winter, I can't remember which winter it was. It might have been this past winter or like the year before that. When I went back home, I met up with Dean, and then I met up with Craig. Because I met Dean because we go to the same college, university. But I had met Craig because he went to Arizona State U. And that's my story. Like my biggest surprise was we were using Skype on the Xbox then to communicate, because Arizona State, you had some NAT issues with the Xbox party chat, so it wouldn't let him ever get onto the party chat. And so he sounds a lot better. No, sorry. I'm that's wrong of me to say. He sounds really different on like voice as compared to like in real life. In real life, he has a very deep voice, and it like does that, like you've heard him talk for so long, his voice doesn't match what he actually looks like anymore. So it's like I couldn't. I'm like, listen, Craig, we can't ever meet again, because I like talking. I like having fun with you, but we can never meet again because the voice doesn't match the body. It doesn't work. Yeah, no, but that's my story. I still play a lot with Craig. If anybody's ever been in my streams or ever hung out with me, he goes by Lone Matador online. He is the homie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Craig, man.
Yeah. Fucking Craig.
I also realized that after listening to your story, I was like, well, there's a good chance that a lot of these stories that somebody might have of meeting somebody in real life after meeting them first in the video game ended up into a police record of some sort. Because for if you're under the age of 18, this is probably like a parent's worst nightmare. The idea of like, oh man, I'm a 15-year-old girl and I met this cool guy in RuneScape. Man, we live in the same state. It's like, boom.
Will you be my girlfriend if I give you 1,000 gold?
1,000 gold, man. If only that was that easy, man, you can get like full steel with that. Jeez. And it's like, why don't you have a seat over here, please? Yeah. Why don't you just sit down? We're gonna talk about pedophilia, or I guess it's hepophilia. At that point, I don't even know what the actual term.
It's disgusting. Shouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
But in this case, these stories were us as mature adults, or somewhere close to it at the very least.
Right.
So on my end, and I might have tailored this to a question, but it was just so obscure that the chance of this happening was
minimal.
Like it was a non-zero thing, but it was still like a 1 in a million style thing. Whoops. And so during my days of at college in Central Michigan University, I was with a guild called the Uldum Cabal. It was on the Uldum server, and it was just a group of people that are super chill, very friendly.
I'm sorry. What game is this?
World of Warcraft. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what other game would I play during college? Jeez.
I just wanted to confirm. All right. Chill out time.
Fair enough. A lot of people I was talking with, I was super friendly with, and one of them was called Lake Shack. Just called her Lake. And, talked with her on TeamSpeak and all that, was friendly with her. She was married at the time, and I believe, no, she's still married to this day out. And, been really friendly with her, talked with her husband, I believe, Zach. Got along with them. Meanwhile, I'm like 19 years old, just sitting in the college dorms playing WoW, and talking with this functioning family. And she's like, "Hey, I gotta let you go soon. I'm gonna go out with my hubby to a club." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And she's like, "Yeah, it's a really cool one over in this place." And she says, "Fucking Mount Pleasant, Michigan."
Right.
And I'm like, wait. Well, she said Mount Pleasant, and I was like, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you do know that's the city that I go to the university to, right? She's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, I'm gonna bring this other World of Warcraft player that plays with us, my husband and I. We're going over there. I'm like, what club are you going to? She names them. I'm like, I'm less than a 2-minute walk from that club. We could totally go to this club together. And she's like, holy shit, are we doing this? I'm like, we're fucking doing this. And so we meet up to go to this dance club. So it's her husband. Husband's getting slammed with drinks. And she brings 2 friends. One that is another WoW player, and the other one who is also married. Husband, in some reason, isn't there with her. This third person in particular, I gotta say, was probably about 4.5 feet tall. Like she was super, like, horribly short, petite, and all that stuff. But she was older than I was, and she was also married. And the other one, I believe, also actually, I think she might have been single at the time, but I guess it doesn't really matter for the sake of this story.
Right.
Man, I was single and forever alone kind of guy, so it's like, ooh, I'm dancing with girls instead of playing World of Warcraft. I've become a man.
That's the dream. You've achieved the dream at 19.
So they're mostly drinking. I can't drink,
right?
Just because I was too young. And
but you were able to get into the club. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you could get into the club and not drink.
The club, but they put a big red or an X on my hand to show that I can't get anything.
Oh, okay, that's cool. At least that they allow.
Yeah, you have to be 18 or above, but they let you in. So we get to the dance floor after everybody's getting tanked. Now, about 15 minutes before they met up, I left. Like I said, 2 minutes away. I left half an hour early. Realized that the club's not even open yet. So I'm sitting outside there like a dude.
But you were nervous because,
It's my first meetup with someone that wasn't, family, that was a girl.
Right.
Ooh, yeah. And so I went across over to the Burger King there and got myself a milkshake or something like that to calm myself down. I don't think I fully discovered the concept that I was lactose intolerant at the time, but we'll put a little pin into that later. So we start dancing. And these girls are dancing around me, and I'm like, this is what it's like to be alive. All these cute girls just dancing, doing the night elf dance where the hands in the air and whatnot, and just, grouping on me. I'm like, I'm looking at her husband. I'm like, I'm pointing. It's like, is this okay? He's like, he's drinking a beer. Like, yeah, it's okay.
He just wanted to drink.
Yeah, he was okay to be left alone. And so me with 3 other girls, this was fantastic. Like, this is my night made. I can, remember this. And then this happens. I have this cool college Chad character come up. I'm like, okay, sure, this is a dance club. Sees I have 3 ladies who are having a good time with me. Yeah. And like, you know what? That's too many for you. And so he starts putting his hands on the hips of this 4.5 foot tall lady that, 23 years old and all that stuff, and starts dancing with her. And she's plastic, so she's like, okay, fine, I'll fucking grind with this guy. And so the other 2 girls are kind of looking at me like, this isn't good. She's married. And so suddenly he starts throwing his hands like down her shirt and stuff and starting to do all sorts of very inappropriate things. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I haven't gotten to a fight in my life. But, this guy's drunk. I think I can take him.
Right.
And so she kind of walks away, but he tries, grab and start pulling her towards him again, trying to like turn her into this fucking sex toy. And so I come in, big daddy me, scoop her up, and I put her on this large platform that people go on to dance on top of. And I look him straight in the eyes and do this point and say, you fucking leave my sister alone or I'll kick your ass. I don't even know this girl's name to this day.
Right.
She was my fucking sister. And he loses his shit. And he's like, what the fuck you say to me, man? And he tries to push me, pushes himself back, and he stumbles. And, people are looking around, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, I'm gonna kick your ass. And people pick him up, and the bouncers drag him out. And the other 2 girls are like, oh man, look at this guy acting all cool. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh god, I think this milkshake's like, suddenly I was so stressed and tensed up. This milkshake curdled on me in my gut, and I ran to the bathroom and started puking viciously. And I told him, I was like, I just gotta take a piss. I come out like fucking red in the face because I puked my guts out after trying to play cool guy for the first time in like 18-19 years of my entire life. Oh man. And that was a good time. I'm still friends with her to this day. I like to talk to her. So yeah. Also, don't pick on somebody even if they're drunk, unless they're threatening somebody that you can call your sister, even though she was, we had like a 2.5 foot difference at that point. It's like,
right.
If you're the brother and you're the sister, what happened? It's like, did mommy have sex with a mailman who happened to be a giant?
Mind you, I am almost 6 feet. My sister's about 5. She's just straight 5.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what happened with me at this point, because there's a lot of questions to be asked. My mom's like just a little bit under 6 foot. My dad's 5'8", and I'm 6'3". It's like, did somebody like when I was in the test tube or something, did somebody accidentally squish me a little too long? Why am I so goddamn vertical? my pituitary gland apparently pumped out a little extra juice for me.
Mhm.
Jeez. But yeah, I'm tall as fuck. So, I think that's it for the story time.
Yeah.
Topic of the show. I'm not too sure how to go with this, man. There's a lot of talk that can be had in different directions, but I kept it very simple in the thing just to see where it could explode in any direction. What are the significance of fan-made games? Is there any way, any direction you want to take off with this?
No, I'm going to assume that this question came about purely because of Pixelmon. Is that, or at least that's a big part of why.
I suppose if you look like that, I'm sure in my subconscious or something like that, I was like, oh, you know, I suppose, yeah, I guess that's true. It's just, I was thinking about how, yeah, you're right, probably Pixelmon.
Yeah. So when I saw this question first, apart from thinking about like why you would have picked this, not that it's a bad topic to talk about, it's just I was just curious. But you have to take a look at it from a bunch of different points of view. I looked at it first immediately from an art point of view. There is such a thing. There's an artistic movement style practice known as remixing, where you take something and you essentially remix it, add other elements, and make it your own, but still paying homage to the original work.
Right.
And so I think as we can have very intense conversations about video games being art, but let's just assume there's like a very base definition of art, and video games fall under that category. Fan-made games are remixes of the video games that, you know, they make the remixes of. That's the most convoluted sentence I've said today, but it's just purely it's what's that saying where imitation is the highest form of flattery?
Yes, that bullshit phrase, but yes, you're right.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like it's not that the devs did bad work, but you've given people this foundation or this thing that they can play and enjoy, but it's also this foundation where they can take it and sort of like, maybe we could try this, or how would this game look like this? Because when you're so wrapped up in your own like sort of piece of work, you're very much biased towards it. So having somebody else do something different opens up you to open you up to the possibilities of doing a new style, or bringing a new sort of like gameplay mechanic to it if you were to do an iteration or a sequel.
It stinks because I have a slightly different view about how, you know, fan made games, you know, why they're made and whatnot. Okay,
that's fine. Let's go for it.
In my head, there's usually two reasons. The first one is someone made a great game, a really good game, but then they stopped making the game. Mm-hmm. Like there's no sequels anymore. There's a long time in between productivity, and it's simple enough that somebody's like, I want more of this, but there's no way I can get more without playing this game over and over. Let's take it one step further and, you know, make a side story, something like that. And a good example of that, I'd like to think, is probably a lot of the Pokemon games. Right. A lot of people like to play Pokemon games, and that led to, you know, the idea of Nuzlocke challenges and all that stuff. But then there's just flat out Pokemon fan-made games out there where somebody's like, I'm going to make my own world and put my own Pokemon, well, not my own Pokemon, but, you know, different Pokemon in it.
Right.
And the other reason I'd like to think is when somebody produces a game that is great at its core, but it's lacking either things that the developer didn't consider, or is just a part in general that a fan wanted to put in themselves. And I'm trying to think of like specific examples. I guess the closest thing would be the Sonic fan-made games, where people really, really loved Sonic. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, though, there was a lot of levels and a lot of games and the designs that just started kind of seeming not so good anymore. It felt like everything was getting a draw, and suddenly, you know, Mr. White, I believe, I don't remember his full name, decided to make, you know, a remix of Sonic games and whatnot, and gave it a new spin, gave it a new life, without necessarily putting brand new levels and all that stuff, and people loved the hell out of it. And it was professionally made, well designed, and people ate it up. Problem is, though, fan-made game, Sega took it down immediately, and then it, acquired him, and then that's how Sonic Mania became the beat. Because, you know, it started off with the love story as a Sonic-made game. So I feel like that's, you know, two potential reasons in my point. I personally believe that the significance of fan-made games is it helps shows the developer what the people want. If there is a game
yeah.
there that's been made and it does fantastic with a function that other people aren't used to, or that they couldn't handle it, didn't understand, it's like, why did Pokemon Quest come to be? And it's like, Pokemon Quest, it's this weird voxelated abomination of Pokemon, but obviously they made it for a reason, and maybe it wasn't necessarily from the fan game of Pixelmon or whatnot, but at the same time, I know I'm using Pokemon as a heavy reference here. They clearly realized that people didn't care if they looked like god awful Lego cubes that came from the ball of hell, and they turned into a type of setting that people enjoyed. They pulled ideas, and I think a lot of people or a lot of developers nowadays, they just simply ask people, it's like, hey, what the hell do you want? We'll try to work our best, to work it in and whatnot. But back in the day, people didn't have either that kind of communication, or they simply didn't care. It's like, we're making our game. If you don't like it, this game isn't for you. When someone's like, well, I'm just gonna make a side story of this that's better,
Right?
And that's a personal opinion. You got any counter thoughts to that?
Not really counter thoughts. It's not like we're having an argument, but if we were to take fan-made games and break it down into like categories or subcategories, the one thing that came to mind when you were trying to find examples was mods for games. And so if you take Skyrim as an example, Skyrim has a very active, even to this day, modding community. And so you can look at it in a bunch of ways. You can look at it as people just trying to enhance the experience of Skyrim because the developers don't have time, or they just don't have the funds to, or it is also an older game, and so maybe people are just bringing it up for modern day systems. Or you could look at it, I'm sure this is maybe not what Bethesda was trying to do, but make a game that forces you to, or to some extent gives you the option of having a community where you're like, all right, here's the game, here's all these quests, here's all these things you can do, here's the base, and now you're free to do with it whatever you want, kind of thing.
All right.
So like a collaborative community environment where similar to Minecraft essentially. And I think Minecraft is a good example of that, where you can like, here's the game, here's the thing, here's the Play-Doh, do whatever you want with it.
A couple other games that reminded me of this as well as, for example, Gary's Mod. Gary's Mod, obviously, like, you shouldn't take all these models from other games, but if you want to try to take a concept of a game that you might have liked and just completely reshape it, or make a bunch of Team Fortress 2 fan videos, that's okay too, I guess. The other one, and I think this is more important to me specifically, is a program/game called Mugen or Mugen. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've heard of it before.
I think so.
It's essentially a program/game where you can input custom-made characters from anything in the world into them and make them fight each other. And so, imagine Mortal Kombat, but you can have Homer Simpsons against Vegeta or something like that. And for those who have a small interest into that, Salty Bet, just Google Salty Bet. Is it uses the Mugen engine and just pits thousands upon thousands of people against each other in a computerized format, and people can watch and make bets and see who would win. Always bet on your waifu, by the way. Always bet on the waifu. And just the concept of being able to have anybody play against anybody, I thought was a great idea, and it's been like that for a very long time. And whether or not Nintendo, pulled that for Super Smash Brothers or other games that pulled that out for crossover, battle things, people get really excited for stuff like that, as it turns out. And I thought Mugen, obviously, Mugen. Every time I say that word, it reminds me of Mucinex. It's not physically possible or financially possible because of the licensing nightmare.
Yeah.
But the what if scenario where people haven't been able to 100% take this down, it still makes it a potential dream. And I think it's a good dream.
Yeah, and you also like a couple of things. You also touched on it earlier. Fan-made games allow companies to see or recruit potential talent, because it's not just animators, or programmers. It's level designers, conceptual artists. There's a whole bunch of people, different divisions, different kinds of jobs that go into making a video game. And the example that I'm trying to think of right now is there's a, I can't remember what it's called, and I'm terrible for this. I'm sorry for this, but it's basically a Mario game that allows you to design your own levels.
Oh, Mario Maker.
That's what it was. I was thinking Mario World, but no, that's the name of the games. So Mario Maker, I think it would be, or at least I thought about this a while back, is Nintendo's response to like fan based games.
Yes.
Where it's like, well, all right, you're so keen on making your own games. Here's everything, make your own game kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's a long running joke about people trying to play insufferable Mario based levels where it's just like hidden blocks and death traps and all that stuff just meant to screw you over every given chance. And just a quick side note for Sonic Mania, I called him Mr. White. And I think the reason why I hesitated on this because it sounded weird. His name is Christian Whitehead. So you can understand why I don't want to accidentally call him Whitehead and realize that, this might be the wrong name here.
Yeah.
But Mario Maker was like the answer to anything, like an easy way to handle the idea of making a fan-made Mario level from, any game for the most part that was a side-scrolling Mario game.
Yeah.
You can play it from any format. If you want to make a Super Mario World level, go at it. If you want to make a new Super Mario Brothers level, you can do that too. And there's been a lot of games or levels I've seen that, it just introduces the creativity of the mind of the player to do the most ridiculous bullshit things.
Yeah.
Or in my best friend Brandon's case, make levels to have me beat and never be able to do because they're impossibly hard.
Yeah. And beyond, like, you talked also about licensing stuff. I feel like if companies, and this is probably never going to happen because of shareholders and stakeholders and just basically money in general. I feel like if companies were to be a little bit easier on people making fan-based games and like not taking them down, because for me, from an art point of view, I think it's important to have all these different things that exist, and it allows them to see what kind of potential collaborations that they could create, because art is collaborative. Communities are collaborative.
9 times out of 10, if you ask the company if you can make a fan-made game that you won't get any money, they'll say no. But at the same time, there's been examples where somebody would say, hey, I'm doing this for a college project. I want to show artistic value to this. And they'll say yes. The biggest example, and this is not necessarily video game related, was somebody asked Hasbro, like, hey, I'm an animator aspiring. I'm doing a college project. Can I use My Little Pony? And he made the best damn My Little Pony crossover I ever seen. Because with his drawing and animation skills, showed that he could do a cool crossover between My Little Pony and then Powerpuff Girls.
Right.
And I it was cool as hell. And so letting minds, because a lot of people ask and the company says no. And so they're afraid that if they do that and they say no, but then the company has the eye of Sauron on them, like, I'm watching just in case you say, I'm going to do it anyways. And that would lead to a very rough legal precedence versus if they do it without their permission, then they can try to hide in the shadows until a C&D appears by the lawyers.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's like, you miss 100% of the chances of the shots you don't take. And it's like,
Exactly.
I mean, most of the time, if you try to make a fan-made game and you want the approval, you'll miss 98% of the shots you do take anyways.
And that's purely because of like legal stuff that the company's wrapped up in, and because of business and shareholders and stakeholders, which is what I was trying to say is just unfortunate because it allows you to see the creativity that other people have to offer and like insights that into your games that you might have missed, right?
Right.
But for the most part, I think it's in a very exciting place, fan-made games, because it's this kind of like illegal underground thing, and it adds a bit of like risk. It's like, oh shit, I'm doing this thing for all these people to play.
Like public sex, yeah. So the final note I'd like to drop for this is the nice thing about this is if they're smart about this and they realize they have a good game going on, like a legit good game, and the only thing that's holding them back for letting people see this in the world is the fact that it's called, this legally owned by another company property. Just change the models, change the characters. I guess the big, most games out there that are fan-made games can get changed into homage games to where it's their own game, but it's like, oh, this is totally a clone of this game. But if they change it enough, they can't, Nintendo For example, the Blossom Tales is totally a clone of Zelda, Link to the Past. But at the same time, it has its own character, it has its own storyline, it has its own battle style. It just so happens that it has dungeons and bombs and whatnot that just looks awfully familiar, like stuff.
Yep.
Oh man, it's like it's art pieces. But that's okay. People love it because it looks just like that game, but it invokes the same feeling. So if you're using the same engine and everything as the game, then you're SOL. But if you can take an idea and a concept and implement it on a different style of platform, then it's like you're good to go. Show what you got. Show me what you got.
It's a video game show, Tyler, not a TV show.
I know.
Podcast.
I know. Sorry, I talked about something that only people with high IQs would understand. So let's wrap this up. Over on the game releases for this week, the first game I can't even safely pronounce. Do you think you have better luck with this one?
Yeah, they're seen.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of like fancy lines and whatnot, and that looks kind of French. So I figured, Mr. French cuisine over here, who likes
It's easy. You just don't pronounce the last letter.
Okay, Deracine coming out on PSVR November 6th, which I believe would be a Tuesday for us.
Yes,
that is correct. Let's see. Also coming out on the 6th. Most of the games are actually coming on the Switch. It's not the Switch. This date, the 6th.
Except World of the next game you're about to announce. It actually came out on the 6th of September.
Oh, did I goof up on that? Or I think it was supposed to be November 6th. I think this is they goofed up on the typo there. But I'll say it just in case, and if not, whoops. World of Final Fantasy Maxima. Now, World of Final Fantasy has been out for a while on, I believe, PS4 and maybe Vita. But looks like it's having a updated version or a sequel of sorts coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and PC. Let's see. Next on the list is Overkill's The Walking Dead. Now, this is an interesting viewpoint because we've been hearing the whole debacle with Telltale and The Walking Dead. I do know that another company is currently working on getting the first and second season or episodes out just fine. What the company said, provided all the legal stuff comes through just fine and we can get everything on board, they'll have the third episode done by the end of the year. But I don't think that has anything to do with this, so I have no idea what Overkill's The Walking Dead is.
No, it's an upcoming first-person shooter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's completely different. It's not like a Telltale game. It's not a story-based visual novel game. No, it's a full-on action game.
Okay, cool. The Forest, which is a game I'm familiar with. I know it mostly on the PC. I don't know if it's on anything else. It's a fun, was single and now multiplayer survival game. Essentially, you're tossed in the forest after a plane crash and you got to find a way to build materials to survive on your own. All the meanwhile, I believe you're stuck on an island with a large, dense forest population, and it looks like cannibal tribes also run the area if you're too loud.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to defend yourself, maybe find your son if you're lucky. That's coming out for PS4. It's coming out also on Tuesday or tomorrow. Final game coming out tomorrow. Most notably is the most notable titles here that I listed. Last one is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which sounds like something I should know and actually enjoy. That name is actually pretty catchy to me. Coming out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Nick, I know you like to do your research here for like the last 5 seconds. What do you got for me?
It is a spiritual successor to Sega and Westone Bit Entertainment's Wonder Boy series.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. It says here, however,
this might have started off as a fanboy or a fan game that took fruition on its own.
It says here, however, that it will be released on December 4th, but okay, so this is actually a little and this is not your fault. I just don't think they updated it. It was supposed to release tomorrow on the 6th, but it has been pushed back to the 4th of December.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My bad. That's my
applying to both physical and no, I just don't think the site updated it because this happened just very last minute.
Website I should shame. Coming out November 8th, hypothetically, of course, at this case, 2 titles. First one coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Ride 3. Which...
I think we saw that at E3. It's just one of those other the car games, racing games.
One of those car titles.
Yeah, one of those ones.
And lastly, for Nintendo Switch, coming out on Thursday, I believe, the 8th. The 8th. Yes, Thursday is Valiant Hearts. Now, this is another one I feel like I should know. Do you got something to spark the memory here?
Valiant Hearts is a puzzle adventure game that came out in 2014. So it makes sense if it's coming out for the Switch now.
Okay, so this was by Ubisoft. It was
Ubisoft Montpellier.
Yes.
That's the specific studio. Yeah, and it just looks like one of those indie puzzle adventure games.
You say indie, but it was made by a AAA publisher.
I want to say...
I mean, it's developed by Ubisoft Montpellier and then published by Ubisoft. So it's like... I mean, if you want to say
like visually, it looks like one of those indie games. Like looks like Limbo.
Okay. It can look indie and still be triple A buckaroo sitting behind it. That's it for video games coming out next week of notable value that I'm aware of. This day in history, I got 12 games listed up here. Actually,
I noticed
an special event. It was a big one, but there's quite a few notable ones here, and for both of us, actually, I thought maybe you can appreciate. So this day in history, aka Monday, November 5th of 2018, a couple of games came out in the past on this day. Go ahead and take it away. Start it off here, Nick. I know I like the heat, hog all the heat here.
All right, so our first game is Bloodborne, the Complete Edition, that came out on the PS4 in 2015. Now, I've never owned anything except for PS2, so I've never actually played this game, but I'm pretty sure this is a From Software's or a Platinum game.
Yes,
I want to say From Software.
From Software.
Same people that did Dark Souls 3. Yes, the Dark Souls series. Again, these are not games I've ever had any interest in. I played Dark Souls 3. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago. What weeks? It's been fucking Tyler. We started this in May.
I mean,
it's November.
I would say we're on episode 25, so we're actually just before 6 months together, man.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Do you put any time into Bloodborne?
I have not touched. Actually, I've played one From Software game that is about an hour and a half into Dark Souls 1.
Okay.
So I've never touched any of them. I mean, they always called any game from Software a get good game. It's like I don't want to play 1,000 times, even though I played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So it's like I got my fill on that. Actually.
At least Breath of the Wild is filled like sugar coated, right? And it's all happy and magical. Whereas here in Dark Souls and Bloodborne, it's like, oh, you fucking suck.
It's constantly
welcome to hell, motherfucker.
Misery, where it's like, oh, I can collect apples over here in Breath of the Wild, but over here, I can collect his skulls and potions. Oh,
right. And so next up on our list is Call of Duty Ghost that came out on all platforms in 2013. I've never played a Call of Duty game.
I'm pretty sure like it didn't come out on like Wii U or whatnot, but like
PS3 and Xbox 360 is what, or Xbox Xbox 360.
Both Pro consoles, yes.
Yes. I've never played a Call of Duty game.
Really?
So I have no connection to this game at all.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of. I mean, I've never played Call of Duty Ghost. For me, it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Never played it.
Wow. Okay.
Everybody's always like, "You've never played Modern Warfare 2? What the fuck is wrong with them?" I'm like, then we've got Rocksmith, the all-new 2014 edition DLC that came out for 360, PS3, PC in 2013. So I've never played a Rocksmith game.
I mean, have you heard of Rocksmith before?
I would imagine it's something similar to Guitar Hero.
Yes, like the concept was a bit more cooler, I'd like to think. I do believe that Rocksmith was like, instead of giving you this plastic guitar with buttons on it, we're going to give you what looks like a real wooden guitar kind of thing, like give it more authentic feel, and it's going to have, synapse feel to it on the strings when you play.
Right.
And the people are like, oh, that's so cool. I only put it up here because, it said all new 2004 edition DLC, even though it came out in 2013. It's kind of like thing. It's like, around this year, 2018, we'll see Madden 19 come out.
Yeah, and then the all new Chevrolet Silverado 2019. It's kind of like one of those.
We'll make it just for you a month early. Yay.
Then we've got You Don't Know Jack that came out on PC 2013. Don't know this game.
You Don't Know Jack is a multiplayer quiz game where essentially, it came out previously than that by a long shot on consoles and whatnot.
Okay.
Essentially, it would be like a series of 10 questions typically, you and up to 3 other people with either controller, or nowadays you can play it using your phone as a controller, which is cool.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And it was, it'll give you like, if Britney Spears was the, the professor of this genre, what kind of professor would she be? And it just give like wild, bizarre answers, but it would have like a tie-in, like maybe like one of her songs, and you try to figure out what song it was to this, and it's pretty fun. I really would actually like to get you the. You don't.
It sounds sort of like Jackbox.
I mean, that's what it is. This is.
Oh, is that what it is? Is it?
You Don't Know Jack's is the predecessor to the Jackbox.
Oh, okay. I know. I played Jackbox.
Okay. That solves everything,
okay.
then, huh? Okay.
GoldenEye 007 came out for the Wii in 2010.
Yep.
Never played any of the gold.
Well, I mean,
I'm like the worst gamer in the world, so I've not played like.
Okay, GoldenEye came out for 64 back in the day.
Yeah,
and they re-released it for the Wii because they wanted to feel cool with the motion controls.
Right.
Didn't exactly come the hot banger they're hoping it was, because everybody was like, GoldenEye 007 was one of the first, unique co-op multiplayer shooter experiences that shaped the world. So it's like, just because it was the first doesn't mean it was the best.
Yeah.
Just putting that.
We've got Dragon Age Origins that came out on the 360 and PC in 2009.
Yep.
I'd always seen gameplay of Dragon Age Origins. At the time, it wasn't a game that interested me, and I'd never had my hands on it.
Good solid RPG game.
Yeah?
I believe it might have came out on PS3 first. I don't remember specifically. Well, I don't know that. I believe I played it on PC. It's a good, fun RPG game.
Yeah, but at that time, you probably still had WoW going strong, so I don't know.
That is very. Actually, at the same time, I started getting heavy into WoW.
Then we've got Final Fantasy Dissidia that came out on PSN and PSP in 2009.
It's weird because they said PSN, but realistically, I'm not sure if they just meant you could buy it digitally for PSP, because it didn't come out for PS3 at all. I'm not sure what the behind that, but it's PSP specifically. This was a game that my best friend Nick would live and die by back in like the end of high school, and he was like, you can play as these Final Fantasy characters, you should get a PSP. I'm like, I'm not gonna get this game, I'm sorry. For some reason I was like too cool for it, even though it was totally up my alley. But it's a great game. Pretty much you could play as any Final Fantasy character, both hero and villain, they just mash them together.
Right. Next on the list, we've got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare that came out on all platforms at the time for in 2007. So PC,
PS3 and Xbox,
X360. Yeah. And so this is probably the biggest item on the list historically, I think.
Probably one of the most notably biggest games that like shaped how people play games, like who play games, like a lot of people played Call of Duty back in the day, but Modern Warfare was like the one that pulled everybody in, start playing games besides us nerds a lot more. Right.
I just never, I don't know what it is. I just never had the chance to get into Call of Duty. And so a lot of these things don't have any significance for me. I played a lot of like Condition Zero, Counter-Strike.
Okay.
But mostly against bots because our internet connection was never good enough to play online. And I also had like a torrented version of it, I believe, a pirated version. And so the servers would never let me come on. It would automatically detect that it was like a not legitimate version of the game, and it would just never let me go online.
Smart.
And
in your favor, but obviously.
Yeah. And so my friends recently, actually maybe 2 or 3 years ago, tried to get me into Modern Warfare 2, but I didn't have the emotional connection to the game that they did, and so I just didn't enjoy playing with them because they were playing all sorts of like custom modded maps. But yeah, anyways, I'm not trying to take away anything from it. I know that there was a lot of controversy with how they depicted a lot of the religions or like the culture of the countries that they had the campaigns in.
Yes.
Specifically with using Arabic in a non-Arabic country. I think that was one of the biggest things. Aside a few other like very
cultural misappropriation aside, there's a lot of people out there that are pretty like, I don't want to play this game because everybody else wants to play and they think it's cool. And honestly, it's probably just a simple game. But then they actually give it a shot. I'm like, holy shit, that's actually pretty good. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
You know what that sounds like for me.
Don't fucking say Fortnite.
Fortnite.
God damn it. Sorry, I shouldn't say it in vain, but motherfucker. Well, I'm just saying that I don't necessarily, despise Call of Duty, especially considering I enjoyed it as a kid and whatnot too. And nowadays, even Black Ops 4, it's a great game. It's just a lot of people like fight against it for the stigma, even though it's a good game.
Right.
And I'm not one of those people that's going to try to say, you should get this game, give it a shot, because I didn't buy the damn thing. So it's like, I can't convince you if I didn't get it myself. No. But I heard, if you're on the fence on it and you're trying to be cool to your friends, just don't. Just save yourself some time. Give it a shot sometime.
Yeah.
Next on the list is kind of important to me.
Hey You Pikachu, that came out on the Nintendo 64 in 2000.
Mm-hmm. Hey You Pikachu.
Yes.
So this sparks and points out that my friendship started this day 18 years ago with my best friend Brandon.
Nice.
I think I probably told you the story about how him and I, when we first met, like after a week, he wanted Hey You Pikachu and I wanted his Paper Mario, so we traded. And it turned out that Hey You Pikachu was a god-awful game and Paper Mario was the cat's meow. And I wouldn't trade back. And then we started bickering. We kept seeing each other and he kept trying to find a way to steal it back and whatnot. And that's how we became friends.
Oh, what a wonderful start to a friendship.
Yep. For the wedding, and I believe I talked about it before, it's a little bit up there. The game that's over on the left here, that's Hey You Pikachu right there. He kind of gave it to me as a wedding gift. Just saying, here, you can have it back. I don't even want Paper Mario at this point.
Was that your Hey You Pikachu? Was that the original cartridge?
Oh, hell no. I'm pretty sure that went into the abyss. I mean, fuck if I know. Sure. Yes, it was the original Hey You Pikachu. I mean, if he wanted to do that, he should have brought it with the headset. No, not the headset you put on your head, but there's a microphone you'd slap into the back of the 64 controller. That I don't think it really detected actual pitches or anything. It just detected when noise went in there.
Right.
Because and I always joked about this. Like at the end of the day of spinning Pikachu, it'd be like, say goodbye to the Pikachu, and Brandon would be like, go fuck yourself, Pikachu. And Pikachu would be like, Pika, Pika. I was like, oh, I can just detect that there's actual noise. I can't understand what you're saying for the most part. Very limited. So Hey You Pikachu, what's next?
Nice. This game is of significance for me. So Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back on the PlayStation 1 in 1997. This was the first game I've ever played in my life.
Yes, it is. This game is now of legal drinking age. And
this game is now of legal drinking. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, 21 years.
Math in my head. I remember this game very well, and I'm still I'm waiting for Black Friday to hit up some of those deals and get the Insane trilogy. It's gonna be fun.
Hey, it's gonna be fun, man. It'll be worth it.
Mega Man 6.
Yeah, Mega Man 6. I'm not sure. I'm sure it came out in the U.S. and I just kind of popped it up because it has some kind of importance. Because Japan obviously is going to be where it came out first. So Mega Man 6 came out 25 years ago in Japan on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I played Mega Man Legends 2, which was a spin-off of the Mega Man games. It was a more realistic kind of breakdown of the Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So Mega Man Legends, Mega Man Legends 2. I played the second one. I really enjoyed that. Never finished it. And I'm trying to find... I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I really want to get a ROM copy of it and play through that.
What did it come out on? Was it Game Boy Advance?
No, PS1.
PS1.
Okay. On PS1, yeah. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm just really lazy. And then I played Mega Man X7.
Ooh, I'm so sorry.
No, it was really fun.
Yeah, I bet. Sure.
I enjoyed it. Mega Man X7 was a lot of fun. You got to play as Zero. You got to play as Mega Man. You started off the game playing as Axel, I think his name was, when they introduced him. That was the first game they introduced him in.
So, call me what you will.
Yeah.
Popular. He's not really popular, but he's like cliche underground popular. His name is the Great Clement, or J Clement 642 on YouTube, and he was the biggest proponent of Sonic and Mega Man games back in the when YouTube started to become a thing. He was there. He was jumping in the action like 2008, 2009, and pumping out like love for it. Right. And so he is the person that got me that not only used the phrase "Aloha, everybody," it is I, Clement, and he also instilled into me a hatred of Mega Man X6 onwards, essentially. Like, I watched him play every single Mega Man X game, and then Mega Man X6 happened. He's like, "Hello, everybody. Am I, is I the Great Clement, and I hate Mega Man X6." And he would say that every single fucking time he played Mega Man X6. And I believe this continued into Mega Man X7. And so you say, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just saying, like, I don't remember that being a good game, like, overall. But,
right.
As long as you had fun, right? If you enjoyed it.
I'm gonna let you take this last one because I think this is nothing I'm familiar with.
This is a day in gaming, but it's not a game that came out. So there was a company back in the day called Mirrorsoft Limited. According to the website that I got this from, the entire Mirror empire collapsed the day founder Robert Maxwell drowned himself, and it was believed to be a suicide.
Nice.
Mirrorsoft was in charge of games such as First Samurai, Turtles 2, and Cisco Heat. And because of the suicide and the company starting to collapse as a result of that, sales started going down like crazy because of that. And it was just a company dream that completely went down because of a horrifying event like that. And obviously, companies come and go. We've seen it. We've experienced it. Maybe not firsthand, but we've experienced it. And all these great games came out, and then just a reminder that gaming isn't as fun and perfect as it all seems.
No, definitely not.
It's kind of sobering sometimes. It's not a perfect happy machine.
No.
But rest in peace. Anyways, let's super wrap this up on hopefully a better note by talking about us, how we can plug our shit and convince you to stay for the last 3 minutes of the podcast. I got a killer joke to tell you. Don't worry.
All right.
So, Nick, where can we find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/LRWarrior11. I'm the same on Twitter and Instagram at LRWarrior11. I have a stream schedule that I'm not following because school takes priority, and I stream whenever I can. Usually I'm down to about 2 streams a week, about 3 to 4 hours each stream. Usually Overwatch, Destiny 2. I haven't played as much Destiny 2 recently, but that's where you can find me. Where can we find you, Tyler?
I'm gonna hold off on saying my Twitch stuff just because it's like no sense having to tease it there. You can find me on Twitter personally at 2xTyler, all one word, all letters, 2xTyler. You can find me post about how much I love Pixelmon and other horrifying things. Maybe tell you about my naughty natures. For example, I believe I talked about how I took my Pokemon Go spoofing thing and then used that to trick the McDonald's application to think I was actually there to start my order, even though I was a mile away. And I, basically this morning I wanted McDonald's, but I wanted to just pick it up and go instead of going through the drive-thru because my Windows isn't working. But it won't let me actually activate the order until I get there. And it's like, or I can tell them I pretend I'm there, and then it's like, oh, and then the minute
show up whenever you're actually ready.
Right. And it's like, well, that's smarter. It's more fun. And over at Casual Master Quest, you can find us on Twitter at Master Quest Pod. We're starting to build up actually a weird repertoire of people. And for those who are listening, getting interested in us, thank you. Like those who listen to us,
for sure.
People who've been here this entire time, holy shit, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you. And for the new people that came on and they like the stuff that we're going on, welcome. I hope you guys enjoy and you stay. And of course, if you want to email us comments, questions, concerns, death threats, we like to avoid the last one, but you can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. So our podcast show @gmail.com.
Or tweet at us. Just yell at us, even if you just open up your Twitter, you're upset, you've had a bad day, just all caps, just yell at us, and then we'll do something with that on our show.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be correlated to our show. If Kalos wants to talk about how horrible Nier Automata is for some reason, even though I think he probably would think that it's an okay game, and starts shouting all caps, like just rants about his day, and it's like someone fucking shat in my coffee. I hate this shit. I want to, kill my boss at work at Master Quest Pod. Just tag us at the very end, just randomly hating the day and just letting us know. He's like, somebody will pay attention. We have your back if you have a rough day and you want to talk about it. We're here to listen. Or you can talk about video games, anything like that. Anything on your end to give last word on?
So this is Monday when this episode comes out. When you guys are listening to it is Monday. The Overwatch World Cup would have already happened, and I'm gonna say that South Korea would have won, but I'm hoping for China to win. So let's see what happens.
Well, that is a gamble. Let's hope for China to win. Okay. And just a quick reminder: Pixelmon admin interview next week. Hopefully, likely, got 2 people lined up. They're excited. They're also Australian. They live on the opposite sides of the fucking continent of Australia. So Nick and I, we're 3 hours apart. So midnight for me is 9 p.m. for him. First person or furthest away is 12 hours apart. So midnight for me is noon for him. And then the person is not as far on the east side of the coast, which is 9 hours away. So I got to work with somebody that's 3 hours away, 9 hours away, and then 12 hours away and try to find the right sweet zone. Thankfully, these guys are night birds as all hell. So one guy's like, I'll start at 3 a.m. And the other guy's like, I'll do it at midnight. And it's like, I'll do it at noon. And Nick will have to hate himself at 9 a.m. So we'll see how that works. Or I got to mixed run. I don't remember. No, I think that's right. Anyways, we'll see you next week. And as I promised, I got a good joke for you to wrap us out on. So a man walks into a zoo. The only animal in the entire zoo is the dog. It's a Shih Tzu. Thank you very much. Don't forget to never stop the grind, and we'll see you next week. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Find more of our work by searching for Casual Master Quest on iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast players. Check out what we'll be doing next week on Twitter at MasterQuestPod.